Splatoon 2 feels fresh, and here at Second Look, I always intend the pun, but it's also completely accurate. It looks nicer, plays smoother, and feels newer. If you've played the first Splatoon, then mechanically not too much has changed, and you'll be able to jump in easier. To be clear, this is just my first impressions from the Global Testfire that occurred during the end of March, and I have to say, the game performed really well. I assumed the purpose for a demo like this is to work out the kinks and see if there's any online connection problems. This is especially true for Nintendo this time around, being the first real game that could possibly put a strain on their servers for the Nintendo Switch. Not one single connection error or lag delay during my entire playtime, and only one long lobby waiting session. At least they made that somewhat enjoyable by letting the player be their own DJ. By pressing any face buttons, D-pad, or moving the joysticks, you could just mess with the song in the background. Either play unique lyrics or change the pitch. It was a nice time waster, but obviously not as good as the minigames in the first one. First of all, here are the things I miss. I missed the gamepad screen. It was such an easy way to access the game map, where during my playtime, here I never really used it. That extra step for me was a roadblock, which is unfortunate, but an expected feature to be missing. I still don't like the inability to change loadouts from the lobby, being forced to quit out entirely, pick a new weapon, and then get back in line. I have to believe they're doing that for some reason, but I have no idea why. I would prefer that to be more seamless. It's a simple thing to allow the player to do. No voice chat, I probably wouldn't use it even if there was, but I know some people care about that. The Joy-Cons are serviceable, but something about a shooter, I prefer my triggers to be a bit more satisfying to press, like I'm pulling the trigger on the actual gun. The Wii U had big old triggers, that made the sensation feel great, but with Splatoon 2, a Pro Controller seems to be a must. Zelda, I don't feel it is a must, but Splatoon 2 is the first Pro Controller worthy game for the console, and I will have to scour the earth to find one before it launches in summer, whenever that is. I tried Splatoon 2 with Joy-Cons detached, in the grip, and handheld mode. When the Joy-Cons are separate, it is a bit weird because the motion controls only react to the right one. It'll take some rewiring, but it is usable. Grip is solid. Most of my playtime consisted of the grip, and the whole time I was just lamenting the fact it wasn't a Pro Controller. Handheld felt the most like the Wii U, the weight, the size, it was the most at home, but I couldn't really record gameplay like that, so didn't use it for very long. Nothing was awful, but I wasn't completely satisfied. The controls are almost identical, except they switched the jump button from X to B, or B to X, one of the two, whatever. So as someone who has sunk many hours into Splatoon, I fell right back in step. For some, I assume this is the first time they've played Splatoon, because they didn't have a Wii U, so I was able to clean up for the majority, these scrubs, I tell you. It was a blast, again, pun intended. The new weapon introduced for this demo was the Splat Dualies, and these things are fire. They're game changers. I love the quick dodge mechanic. It made the splatter shot feel even more standard. That one mechanic freshened up the gameplay a ton, as learning when and where to employ it was a bit of a learning curve, but also very rewarding when pulled off. Splat Dualies are Second Look approved, very fun addition, nice job Nintendo. Splattershot is identical to the original game, mechanically, unsure if they are balanced any differently, we'll have to wait till the full game comes out. I suck at Splat Charger, always have, not the best guy to come for any updates on that. I tried the holding charge feature, that is new to Splatoon 2, letting you swim around with a full charge. I can see the potential, but I was terrible and it was by far my worst performance. The roller really surprised me, I liked it more here than I ever did in Splatoon before. The new mechanic to the roller is when you jump and then shoot, it flicks out paint vertically, which immensely helps mobility. Being able to spray a long, narrow stretch of paint opens up new doors for the roller and made getting from point A to B a breeze. It was given new life in my eyes, and I enjoyed my time with it. I enjoyed the Splat Dualies over all the other weapons present, which there were only 4. Can't wait to try more in the full game. All the loadouts and outfits were fixed, so you couldn't customize any of that. Each weapon had a brand new special that was not present in the original Splatoon. The biggest thing I noticed was none of them gave the player invincibility. There were several specials before in Splatoon 1 that made you less vulnerable, but all of them here did not help your vulnerability, or made you even more susceptible to being splatted. You can be killed while performing any of the 4 specials, which I think is great for balancing the game. The Tenta missiles feel like a way to get around the lack of a touchscreen for the ink strike. The endgame is similar. You lock onto an area and drop a ton of ink in a certain radius. Instead, you lock onto enemies and it lands near the ones in your sight. Inkjet is fun, gives you the power of flight, shoots out grenade-like ink bullets. You're very vulnerable up in the air as you can easily be shot down, but you have strength on your side, which is its powerful blast. Stingray is hard to use in the midst of a fight as your movement speed is almost non-existent. Stay back and then use it like a sniper and mow down foes because its blasts go through walls. It's hard to chase players with the blast because of that heavily reduced movement speed, so make sure you know where you're aiming or you'll waste it. Last but not least is Splashdown, by far the most satisfying. Your Inkling performs a Hulk smash of ink around you. Anyone nearby gets eviscerated. Best part is you can use this as a safe entry when you quick jump to a teammate. You're able to get the best of those campers immediately as you land. The curling bomb is neat, nothing extremely innovative, kind of feels like a seeker. Bank shots are great for a top play reel. There were 2 new maps available, both great, but pretty small in comparison to most of the original game's maps, but I didn't have a problem with them. Those poor pigeons. Run, pigeons. Every time, run. I love the indoor rock climbing aesthetic of one of them. Graphically, this game is much improved. If you compare Splatoon to Splatoon 2, it's obvious the Switch is a more powerful console. Never a dip in frame rate on Switch, handheld or dock, which wasn't always the case on Wii U. The lighting, the textures, the character models, the ink, all look as inviting as always with a newly painted sheen and just higher quality all around. I'm convinced to buy Splatoon 2 when it eventually comes out. I had way too much fun during the test fire. I need more, and luckily, there is more as of writing this, so I guess that's covered. I just wish I had a pro controller.